Dear students, once again I am in front of you to explain the Rutherford nuclear model of an atom. Before explaining, I'll explain one drawback of the Thomson model also, because it was left in the last video lecture. So in the Rutherford experiment, we have observed three types of deflection. There is a large deflection, there is a small deflection, there is no deflection. That means retraces. That means most of the rays passes through it without any deflection. Second, we have observed that the rays which are passing near the central part got deflected with a small angle, and the rays which just had a head-to-head collision with the central part get deflected with a large angle, and as well as it can retraces its own path. That means the path on which it comes, it gets reflected back on that path only. So there are three types of deflection we have observed here, but we know that in Thomson model it was said that the mass and the charge are uniformly distributed throughout the atom. When the charge and the mass are distributed throughout the atom, then that means mass and charge are not at a particular place, but it is distributed throughout. So at a particular place, if you see the mass or charge, it will be very low, it will be minimum. So if you consider the Thomson model, that it has got a mass and charge are distributed throughout the atom. In that case, when alpha particle passes through this atom, then it will get deflected with the very small angle. It could have deflected with a small angle only. That means single observation we could have. If we think that Thomson model is correct, if you consider that the mass and charges are distributed throughout the atom uniformly, in that case, if the alpha particle passes through it, it will experience at a particular point very small mass, as well as it will experience very small charge. That means the alpha rays which is passing through the atom will experience a very weak electric field. It will experience very weak electric field, weak magnetic field. So the deflection will be at a small extent. So deflection should have been the only one type of deflection should have been it should have deflected with the small angle only, but it is not there. What is happening? There are 3-4 types of deflection. Without deflection was their first thing. Second, it deflects with a small angle. Third is deflects with the large angle, and fourth, it deflected back in such a manner that it retraces its own path. So these 4 types of observation could not be explained by Thomson. So this is one more drawback of the Thomson model. Okay, so now I have discussed the remaining part of the drawback of the Thomson model. Now I will discuss the Rutherford nuclear model. Everything we explained in the previous lecture only. I am just recapitulating it on the basis of the observation and explanation. We have written here the Rutherford nuclear model of an atom. So first was it, most of the mass and all the positive charge of an atom is concentrated in a very small region. Most of the mass and all the positive charge of an atom is concentrated in a very small region called nucleus. At the central part, it is explained to you. Second, the magnitude of the charge on the nucleus is different for atoms of different elements. So it is explained that the positive charge is there at the central part, which is known as nucleus, but the magnitude of the positive charge at the central part will be different for different elements. Why? We should consider, because different atoms have different number of protons. The positive charge at the nucleus are due to number of protons. The positive charge at the nucleus are due to proton only, and the different elements have different number of protons. That's why the nucleus will have different charges. That is why nucleus will have different charges for different atoms of the elements. So the magnitude of the charge on the nucleus is different for atoms of different elements. This is the second theory of the second assumptions of the nuclear model. Third, what he said that nucleus is surrounded by electron. Third thing, what the Rutherford's third postulates of the Rutherford is that what Rutherford said, the nucleus is surrounded by electron. What he said, that nucleus is surrounded by number of electrons, and this number of electron revolves around the nucleus with a very high speed, tremendous speed. The nucleus is surrounded by electrons, and these electrons revolve around the nucleus with a very high speed. Now since electron and proton both are charged particles, so there will be electrostatic force of attraction between electron and proton. Nucleus is positively charged and electron is negatively charged, so there will be electrostatic force of attraction between the nucleus and the electrons. So simply it would have been the electrostatic force of attraction between electron and nucleus. Then it could have been touch one another, because electrostatic force could have pulled the electron towards the central path. Okay, to avoid this condition, what he said, that this electron is not only around the nucleus, but around the nucleus it revolves. When it revolves, when something revolves around certain thing, then it develops a centripetal force which works away from the center. An electrostatic force works as a centripetal force which pulls the electron towards the central part. In physics you have studied centrifugal and centripetal force. Centripetal force acts towards the center and centrifugal force acts away from the center. So centrifugal force pulls away and centripetal pulls in toward the center. So here the electrostatic force of attraction is balanced by centrifugal force. Since the electrons is revolving around the nucleus, so when something revolves around the nucleus, it develops centrifugal force which acts away from the central part. So this centrifugal force balances the electrostatic force of attraction which is toward the center. So electrostatic force of attraction here acts as a centripetal force. So electrostatic force of attraction is like a centripetal force here and pulls the electron towards the central force, where due to the movement of the electron, it also develops centrifugal force which pulls the electron away from the center. And these two forces are equal to one another, centrifugal force as well as the force of electrostatic force of attraction, and that is where the electron remains balanced and revolves around the nucleus, never touches the central part. Okay, so this is the third postulate. Now the fourth one is that what he said, Rutherford, fourth assumptions, the total negative charge on the electron is equal to the total positive charge on the nucleus. What he said, that the number of positive charge on nucleus and the number of negative charge on the electron would be same. Number of negative charge. Why he said, knew that electron is neutral, so he said that number of positive charge and number of negative charge should be equal to one another. Then only it will explain the neutrality of the atom. So that's what he said, that all the atoms are electrically neutral, so that's why the number of positive charge and number of negative charge in an atom would be same. And here the nucleus represents positive charge, where the electron revolving around the nucleus are negatively charged. Okay, and the last, what he said, the most of the space inside an atom is empty. This is also explained during in the previous lecture. Most of the space inside an atom is empty. Okay. Now the failure of the Rutherford model. I will explain the Rutherford model. Till electromagnetic theory was not given by Max Planck, this theory was perfect. till the electromagnetic theoretism came into the picture by Maxwell. So when Maxwell come out with the electromagnetic theory, then we got a problem with this Rutherford model. We got a problem with this Rutherford model because according to the electromagnetic theory given by Maxwell, that whenever an accelerated charged molecule, whenever the accelerated charged particle moves with a tremendous speed, moves with a tremendous speed or with a very high speed, then it releases energy. It emits energy, it releases energy in the form of radiation. So when it releases energy, its energy after that certain time it will lose the electron. Every moment it will release some energy. Every moment it will release some energy. So slowly and slowly what will happen? Their energy will drop by a certain extent and it will continue, and this drop of the energy, this drop in and decrease in energy will be continuous till their energy becomes zero or till it get collide with certain thing. Okay, now we apply this to this Rutherford model. According to Rutherford model, electrons are revolving around the nucleus. This is the nucleus and this is the electron. I have taken the one electron only, for example, one electron. I have taken only one electron as an example, and this electron is revolving around the nucleus. So when electron is an accelerated charged particle, because electron is revolving around the nucleus, so it has got acceleration, because at every moment it changes direction. Although its speeds may be same, its speed remains same, but it has got an accelerated motion because every moment changes direction because it is moving in a circular path. So it has got acceleration. Due to acceleration, this electron will lose their energy. When it will lose their energy, it will come closer to the nucleus. It will come closer. Every moment, this electron will come closer to the nucleus. Like this, you see that it is revolving around the nucleus. Revolving, after losing it come little bit closer to the nucleus, again it loses energy, come little bit closer to the nucleus, again it come and ultimately it will fall to the nucleus. It will touch to the nucleus. So when electron touch the nucleus, what will happen? There will be destruction. But no atom got destroyed in this universe. Atoms are stable. But here, stability is in question according to this Rutherford. So the first drawback of the Rutherford, that Rutherford could not explain the stability of atom, and this problem arises, this drawback arises after the development, after the evolution of the electromagnetic theory given by Mr. Maxwell. So this is the first drawback of the Rutherford model, that it could not explain the stability of the atom. Okay, if you consider this Rutherford model, what has been given? In this case, electron ultimately will fall down to the nucleus and there will be destruction. But this is not happening. All the atoms in this universe are stable. The stability are in question. So stability could not be explained by Mr. Rutherford. So this is the first drawback. Second drawback is that different elements, atom of different elements have got different number of electrons in it. Okay, neutron and proton will be kept at nucleus, no problem. But what about the electrons? When so many electrons are there, so these electrons are around the nucleus one. What Rutherford said? That these electrons are around nucleus. But where this? No, position of the electron, distribution of the electron around the nucleus was not explained by Mr. Rutherford. So many electrons are there. All these electrons get distributed around the nucleus in an atom. It was not explained by the Rutherford. So that is the second drawback of the Rutherford model. Now the third model, there is a third drawback is also there. you know the spectrum. Before knowing the drawback, you must know this. What is spectrum? You have observed the rainbow. That rainbow is nothing but it is a spectrum of different energies. When slantly sunlight in the rainy season strike to the water droplets in the atmosphere, you get total internal reflection and gives you the 7 colors. In the physics laboratory also you have carried out the dispersion of light. There also you have got the 7 colors. In that 7 colors, which is known as the spectrum, when these 7 colors are staying together at the same place, then it is called a spectrum. In that spectrum, you have observed that there is no definite boundary of any color. One color starts, another color slowly, and then this color slowly and slowly vanishes, and another color slowly and slowly appears. But you can't definitely say that this color has started here and ends here. No definite boundary of the color. That means one color merges into another color. One color merges into another color. It is a continuous. You can't say the definite boundary of any color that here started, here it ended, here it started, here it ended. Although observe the 7 colors available. You can't say, you won't be able to recognize the actual boundary of the colors. That means here continuous. So that is why this spectra is known as continuous spectrum. It is continuous spectrum. So it is the case when the light energy is there. So light energy gives us the continuous spectrum. In the same way also, all the atoms in this universe gives us a spectrum. But there is a difference in that spectrum. When we take out the spectrum of any atom, then we get a definite boundary of colors. Definite boundary of colors. So it is not a continuous spectrum, it is a discontinuous spectrum, and boundary are defined. So it is called line spectrum. It is called line spectrum. When the boundary of the colors are defined, here started, here it ended, here started, here ended, here started. So different colors are adjusted with one another. Different color appears together, but their boundary are defined. By just looking at the screen, you can see that here started, here it ended, here started, here ended. So you can say like that. So definite boundaries are there. Such type of spectrum are known as line spectrum or atomic spectrum. Line spectrum or atomic spectrum. So we got a line spectrum. So that time, at the time of Rutherford, the spectrum of hydrogen was taken out. In that spectrum, we got a certain definite lines. In that spectrum, we got a lines. That means well-defined boundary of the colors. Well-defined boundary of the colors. This Rutherford model could not be able to explain the presence of certain definite lines in the spectrum. This could not be explained. So these are the failure of the Rutherford model, and this failure of the Rutherford was rectified by Mr. Bohr, which I will explain in the next lecture. So whatever these are the drawbacks of Rutherford, which was corrected by Mr. Bohr. Okay. So these are you should remember the drawback, and then the rectification will be carried out by Mr. Bohr, and then the Rutherford model will be improved or rectified by Mr. Bohr, which I will explain you in the next lecture next day. Thank you.